Hello everyone! It's been about a year and a half since I've done one of these voiceover videos. I believe my last one was in January of last year, and before that, who even knows? So, what's been going on in my life since then? I've gotten my associate's degree and started on my bachelor's. I've started playing World of Warcraft again. I've gained... I gained about 200 subscribers in the last week after posting Emerald Star. Thank you everybody for enjoying. I've been really loving reading all of your comments. I'm sorry that I can't reply to everybody. I do read all of them though, and I really appreciate all the kind things that you have to say. I was trying to think of a way to celebrate my 800 subscribers, and I was thinking, since my previous most viewed video was my bubble stream redesign, why not try to catch lightning in a bottle? Why not try to do another OC like I said I would at the end of that video? So, without further ado, here is the life and times of my OC, Darkfinch. Darkfinch was born in BlazeClan to Spotfur and Jason. Not that Spotfur, this was 2014. This is his, I won't say original design, because I did redesign him at one point, because he had a nasty, murky, brownish gray color in his pelt that really just wasn't flattering, so I just got rid of it and made him entirely monochrome, which was a choice. I don't think there's anything wrong with a monochrome character, but he was born with like gray eyes, and eventually I made them blue, but there really wasn't a whole lot of variety to his design. The necklace that you can see was a gift from his mother. I don't remember for what or where she got it, but back in the day, we gave our cats human trinkets. What are you gonna do? It was a sign of the times. It's like a gray diamond necklace made of vines. At some point, I gave it like a little chain or whatever, and he got all scratched up during one of his many training sessions with his clanmates. Now, unlike with Bubble Stream, we are not flying blind. I have done a redesign of Darkfinch in the past that I really liked, so I just kind of added and tweaked that one a little bit. Instead of having his enormous flowing emo fringe, I traded it for just kind of like a spiky top of the head. I gave him sort of like a mane, just because I love to give my characters manes. I don't know if you can tell. What else did I change? Instead of declaring the brown dead on arrival, I just made it a nicer color. So you're gonna see it's a little bit wonky, it's a little bit pink, but hey, it looks good, and I like it. He is referenced off of a owlfinch, and you may be wondering, why didn't you name him Owlfinch then? Why Darkfinch? That is because I knew if I named him Owlkit, somebody would ask me, why doesn't he look like an owl? Why doesn't he have big eyes? Why isn't his pelt like an owl? And I just wasn't emotionally prepared to tackle those questions, so I saved myself the turmoil and just named him Dark instead. I have since thought about changing his name, but I'm not going to, because it's too late at this point. I know him as Darkfinch now. You can see me thinking about giving him another emo fringe. Don't get too attached to it, it's not gonna stay. I also considered letting him smile, but there's nothing to smile about in this guy's life. His mate, Hazepool, divorced him, and it is arguably the most healthy relationship I've ever been in roleplay, which is really funny because they divorced when their kids were like apprentices. And he continued to pine for her for the rest of their lives, even after she was dead, and he would constantly talk to his children about how much he missed their mother, which I now have a World's Okayest Dad mug that I drink coffee from all the time. I bought it when I was like 17, and my family was like, are you gonna give it to your dad? No, dude, that's mine. I'm the World's Okayest Dad. Now let's get to some colors. So here is the pinkish, purplish, quote-unquote brown. I don't really know how to describe my coloring process, so I start with the lightest base color of the coat, and I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna taper all my lines there, and then I add the next layer, which is gonna be some stripes, and that's just like, I made it a little bit redder so that it's a little bit nicer of a contrast, and then I went with a very dark, desaturated purple, indigo, whatever you want to call that, for the black. I think it's fine to work with pure black. I do it all the time, but for this, I wanted there to be some nice colors. And then, as always, as has always been with his design, his his skin tone is going to be like a light blue. And then, just to add some contrast with the black line art to the black pelt, I made those lines like a desaturated purple as well. And all of his limbs used to be speckled white, but for this, I just did his tail. For his eyes, I wanted to get the gray in there, but also the blue, so this is what came up. You can see me futzing with it for roughly 1,000 years before I'm happy with it. And here we go. Here's the glow up. When I first designed him, I know that I used some pre-chosen colors from the paintbrush palette. I believe his legs are iron and his pelt is lead colored. And then here is the glow up with some pinks and some browns and some red and stuff. I really like the update, and I think it suits him a lot better and suits me a lot better personally. Hi, I don't know if I led into this with a bit or not, but I decided, since I'm taking this trip down memory lane again, and since I didn't do it last time, I would take everybody on a tour of the Blaze Clan camp where Darkfinch really got his start. So I have changed my cat form back to the OG when I was still doing that roleplay. Right here is where we would hold sessions. So instead of having one dedicated mentor, everybody would come out here and we'd do different types of training. We'd do hunting training, or we would all usually fight here. So if we go up this way, what is my... Here we go. Let's get up here. So we would all usually roleplay walk all the way down here together and talk to each other along the way. Up until we got through this cave. This cave does count as an indoor area, so if somebody was role-playing in their cheetah travel form, they would be kicked out of that form and would have to walk as like a cat or regular person through here. Don't mind all of the people here. They do not exist. You are dreaming. So if you go up this way through, this is called Ravenholt Manor, and you would ignore all of the people here because they're not real. You made them up. You go up over this way, and this is the entrance to the Blaze Clan camp. So you go through here, and you have a nice view of the Hillsbridge foothills from up here. That was one of the areas that we did a session, so I'm going to take a tour over there as well. Up over here, this is the Warrior's Den. So if you want to get into camp, you have to go through all of these guys over here. And please keep in mind that it has been, like, 7 years since I've roleplayed here, so there is a good chance that I'm not going to remember where some of the dens are. So if you were in Blaze Clan, don't come for me. I don't believe this was a den. This was one of the places where I would sit and go AFK forever, and it's actually in a different zone, technically. So people would yell at me and I wouldn't be able to see it. But over there is, right on the other side of this mountain, I don't even know. Yeah, that building over there is Eerie Peak in, what is that area called? The Hinterlands, that's right. And then down over here, we have the nursery. I spent a good bit of my time here being baby, and wasting all of my money on Noggenfogger elixirs. I believe over here was the apprentice's den. I don't know if we had an elder's den because nobody really got old. We would really just kill off our characters once we got bored with them. This was the very first AFK spot that I ever had. I would tuck myself right here, and I would sit down, and I would tab out, and I would draw Darkfinch, pretty much. Over here is our healing den. I did spend a little bit of time in here, but I got very tired of being a medicine cat really quick, and I just kind of dipped out. Down here was another spot that I would AFK all the time, and I would get to look down over the river, and there's like a rare spawn down there. That's where warriors got their whirlwind axe in Classic, if that means anything to you at all. And then up over this way was our leader's den. And I don't think Sandstar ever spent much time in here at all. But up, let me just, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's so many noises. There we go. Up here was our high rock, and we would all gather right down there below to have a meeting. Here was one of our session areas. We all had so much fun just doing parkour. I hate parkour now. I'm not quite sure what it was. I'm good at it because I spent so much time practicing doing a session, but I'm not very good. So let's see if I still have what it takes to do this. I am one of the ones who discovered this one. So the trick is to jump across there, over here, across here, and then you'd need to get sprinting leap over here, and then go over here. Oh, and then you fall because you get overconfident. But if you fall, you're supposed to run all the way over to the start, and then there's a log over there. That was the wrong button. There's a log over here, and you'd have to go all the way back up if you're not terrible like me. Yeah, so you'd run all the way back up, and you'd have to start from the very beginning. And then the OG session was this one over here, where, let's see, it's a long one. They're all pretty long. So you'd swim through here, run up this waterfall, run through here, look at all the dang turtles, befriend all the dang turtles. I like turtles. And then we'd swim all the way over here to spare you. Let's go over here. There's horses here? Have there always been horses here? I spent so many hours of my life here. How have I never seen a horse here before? And then you jump all the way up, unless you're terrible like I am, as we've established. You run up the log, and whoever gets up here first wins the session. And there was usually a punishment if you were the last one. But here we are. And that is, there's so many horses here. The horses must be new. There's no way, but these are all of the sessions, and this is pretty much what there is to know about Blaze Clan territory.